Hello, everybody. Welcome to our study today. We're in Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9 in the New Living Translation. And I want to talk to you about the key to a successful life. Not just a key, but the key. If there is a primary key, a basic key, this is it. Philippians chapter 4. Verses 8 and 9, New Living Translation. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right. Think about things that are pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all that you learned from me and heard from me. Paul is speaking to his favorite church, and saw me doing, and the God of peace will be with you. Now, sometimes human memory seems pretty unreliable. The home computer can be a big help. In fact, I remember one of my great teachers, Dr. Earl Pullius, who probably influenced me more than any other individual except perhaps my own father. He said, "Ron, a short pencil is worth a lot more than a long memory. Write it down, son," he'd often say. As great as a computer is, it's still crude compared to the human brain. In fact, one researcher calculated the brain's storage capacity, just storage now, to be 1 quadrillion bits of information. Quadrillion. Do you know how much that is? Let me show you. The key to a successful life is memory. Now let me follow through on this. Here is 1,000, right? There's 1,000. Now, if you have 1,000 thousands, then you've got 1,000,000, right? Then if you have 1,000 millions, you've got 1,000,000,000. I think I'm right here. And then if you have 1,000 billions, you've got 1,000,000,000,000. Wow. But now if you have 1,000 trillions, you've got a quadrillion. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 zeros. You can't even think that. You can't even imagine that. And yet, you can store it in your brain. That little 3 pounds, 0.3 thing between your ears of grayish liquid matter can house more facts, more data than you can even think or conceive or imagine. That's what God has put inside of you. That's inside of you. However, it's not just the memory. It's not just the fact that it's a house of facts, but it's the power of recall, memory, that is the key to a successful life. How much of that can you get to when you need it, as you need it? Memory, somebody said, is the coaxial cable. A coaxial cable. That's really Hebrew language there. Coaxial. Axial is the word for generation of power. And a coaxial cable on a piece of equipment is the power conductor. And the power conductor of the brain is memory. If you want to engage this that God has put inside of you, then the key to engaging it is not just the fact of it being there, but memory. Memory. I need to get rid of some of those zeros so that we can get into this message I've got for you today. Memory is the key to a successful life for 3 reasons. 3 reasons. 3 that I want to deal with today. There perhaps are many more. But number 1, memory is the key to a successful life because memory conditions moods. Let's see that. Memory conditions, influences, determines moods. Moods, that's emotions. That's how we feel about something, how we respond or not respond to something. Now, Elijah in the Bible, in 1 Kings 19, 2 verses of Scripture in 1 Kings 19, verse 4 and verse 10 are so very telling. He is an example here of unmanaged memory. Unmanaged memory. You've got to learn to manage your memory. He remembered Ahab and Jezebel, don't you remember, at a critical point in his life, right after Mount Carmel's victories. All of a sudden, his memory took over, and he remembered that Jezebel had vowed that she would kill him and destroy him. And he became discouraged then and wanted to die. Look at verse 4 of 1 Kings 19. He went a day's journey into a wilderness because of this memory. And he sat down under a juniper tree and asked God that he might die. Unmanaged memory. It didn't lift him, help him. It was about to destroy him. Go on over to verse 10 in that same chapter. He said to God, as God said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Ask him the question in verse 9. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And here's what Elijah said. "I have been very zealous for you, Lord, but still Israel has forsaken the covenant and thrown down your altars and slain your prophets, and only I am left, and now they're trying to kill me as well." Memory took one of the most perfect, greatest Old Testament prophets and thrust him down into a deep, dark hole so that he was begging God to let him die. He asked God to let him die 3 times. And at the 3rd time, God said, "Okay, son, that's it. Appoint Elisha as your successor, and I'm going to send a chariot for you." Now, I'm not ready for a chariot yet. I don't want an unmanaged memory to destroy my value to God and His kingdom. Paul, on the other hand, is an example of managed memory. He was hunted, he was stoned, he was beaten, he was left for dead, he was shipwrecked, and he spent a day and a night in the deep, in the water. And yet he could say at the end of his life in that great, magnificent Philippians, "Forgetting those things which are behind, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Jesus Christ." You see the difference? Paul managed his memory. Elijah let his memory manage him. Memory is a key to success because memory conditions moods. But memory is also, number 2, the key to a successful life because memory conditions moods and moods condition mental outlook. Moods condition mental outlook. Mental outlook. my opinion, my response, how I move in reaction to something, conditioned by my moods, which are conditioned then by my memory. It was Christina Rossetti who wrote this little poem. Now catch it, it's very sensitive, and I hope I can do it justice. She said, I have a room whereinto no one enters, save I myself alone. There sits a blessed memory on a throne. There my life centers. Life centers, you see, on what captures our attention. It sets itself up in our memory. Dwell on disappointment, as Elijah did, and you'll become bitter. Dwell on the positive, as Paul did, and you'll become better. We're all going to visit that center where something that has captured our attention is going to sit for a moment on the throne of our lives, in the center of our beings. If it's good, if it's true, if it's right, if it's beautiful, it will condition our moods, which will then determine our mental outlook. If not, it will do the opposite. It will make us bitter. You see, the memory, someone said, I wish I could remember where I got this, but I can't, it's gone. The memory is a window through which life is viewed. And the color of that window determines the color of our world. If my color is morbid and gray, morose, turbid, then my world will be that. But if my memory is bright and beautiful and shining and full of potential, pregnant with future power, then my life will surge, because memory conditions moods. Moods condition mental outlook. We all know about the Hatfields and the McCoys, don't we? In American folklore, feud in this tiny region of the Appalachians. It went on for generations. Nobody could remember how or why it started. Everybody had his own idea for why it was as it was. These two families at enmity with each other, trying to kill each other and destroy each other. It destroyed the whole community, and it destroyed progress, and it set that region of the country back generations from all the other developments around it. That can happen to any one of us. Bitterness and resentment cannot just deter us, it can also destroy us. Now, number 3, memory is the key to a successful life, because memory conditions moods. Moods condition mental outlook. And here's the good news. The content of my memory can be shaped by discipline. Memory can be shaped. It can be managed. I want you to look again at my hero, David. Here's one of the passages in the Psalms that just thrills me. He says in Psalm 103, verses 1 and 2 in the King James Version, he says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul." Whoa, wait a minute. He is saying to his soul. Now we all know that the soul is the will and the mind and the emotion, don't we? I am a soul, I have a spirit. I am a soul, will, mind, and emotion, and I live in a body. So he is saying to himself, he is saying by his will, soul, that is will, mind, and emotion, the way you think and the way you feel, he's saying, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. He's commanding his soul to bless God in every dimension of its being. Then he says it again, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits." You see what is he doing? He's managing his memory. It's exactly what he's doing. He understood the operation of the human mind. And so now he is putting a bridle on it. And he is controlling the memory that conditions his moods, that determine his mental outlook, and that shape his destiny. There's an old man who loved to tell stories about the good old days. One day he was talking to some young people and he exaggerated his hardships so much that his wife felt constrained to correct him. And he looked back at her with a twinkle in his eye and he says, "Oh, hush up, darling. Half the fun of remembering the good old days is rearranging them." Do you know we can do that? We can put the best spin, the best understanding on even the worst things that have happened to us, if we'll recognize that it's our memory of the past, not the past itself, that is formative in who we are and how we view life and how we deal with our environment, including the people in our lives. We can do that. You see, Paul was successful because Paul not only managed, but he mastered his memory. He mastered his memory. He said, "The good that I would, I don't do. And the evil that I would not, that I find myself doing, but there's no condemnation. I'm not perfect," he said. You see, he was reaching out and taking hold of his memory so that he could condition his moods and determine his mental outlook and shape his destiny. You and I can do that. Animals can't do that, you see. But men and women can do that. Children can't do that. Men and women can do that. It was the great Samuel Johnson who said, "The true art of memory is the art of attention." The true art of memory is the art of attention. What we give to our minds, he says, by paying attention, will eventually determine what they contain. What I give to my mind by paying attention to it, and I would add with a salt of thanksgiving, will determine what my mind contains. Philippians, one more time, this great text. Fix your thoughts on what's pure and honorable and right. Think about things that are true and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. And keep putting into practice all that you learned from me, Paul is telling the Philippian church, and saw me doing, and the God of peace will be with you. There's another great text. It's an Old Testament text. And a lot of people just miss it. But it's Deuteronomy 8:18, quoted as much as any text here in 21st century church. Remember the Lord, for it is He that giveth thee the power to get wealth. That's the King James Version. You know what it says really in the Hebrew? It's that great word zakor again. Zakor means fix your thoughts on God. Focus on God. Fill up your memory, your mind and your heart with God. God who is all wise. God who is all powerful. God who is all love. Fill up your heart and your mind and your spirit with Him. For it is He who gives you the power to create true wealth. God will touch you and enable you to bring wealth out of nothing, out of defeat, destruction, desolation. This is the power of memory. I want to conclude this now and then strongly apply it to your life and mine. The next time you're down and feeling sorry for yourself, take a pen and write down the good things God has allowed to come your way. Just start making a list. If you want to do something that'll thrill you, just put down the pros and the cons, the good things and the contrary things that have come into your life. Just start listing them. Start listing them. And pretty soon you'll run out of cons and the pros will take over. Chuck Markey said it like this. He said, you want to get rich quick? Count your blessings. You see, rich and poor is between your ears, not in your pocket. It's the way you think about life. Memory is the key to successful life because it conditions our moods, which determine our mental outlook. And it can be shaped and managed and mastered if we'll focus our attention on it. Earl Musselman wrote these lines. Catch them now. He said, the sun was shining in my eyes and I could hardly see to do the necessary task that was allotted me. Resentment of the vivid glow, I started to complain. When all at once, upon the air, I heard the blind man's cane. Memory, mental outlook. If we train our minds to do so, We can see the best in everything that comes our way. And this will fashion memories that are good and true and helpful and blessed. And it'll become a treasure trove between your ears that you can draw on to change your life. To turn a prison into a mansion. Good memories condition good moods and a healthy mental outlook. So here's my message. Manage your memories. Master your memories. It's the key to the successful life. The Bard of Oklahoma, Will Rogers, put it like this. He said, even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. Take hold of your memories. You've got so much in there that God has given you. Manage, master them, and make your life a delight and a joy and a treasure to those around you. God bless you. I'll see you next time.
This has been brought to you by Ron Cottle Ministries. For more information, please call us at 706-256-0100, extension 217, or visit our website, roncottleministries.com.